Hey crafty friends, this is Chelsea. I'm so excited. It is November, which means the start of my friend Janice's tag series. So for the last couple of years, she has done a series where she posts a new tag video every week. And I think she usually does 6 or 8 weeks worth of tags. So I'm hoping to be able to join her. Today, the inspiration is the Silver Bells card making stamp and thin cuts. This is from the card making workshop. And we're both going to be using the same set to give you a couple of different looks. I'm also going to take this design inspiration and create a card. So I'm going to show you how to pull this tag together, and then I'm also going to show you a card that was inspired by this design in case you enjoy making cards as well. Now, I love this design because you don't have to use any stamps if you don't want to. If you're not really a stamper and you rather just use die cuts, you can use any collection you want. I am using the silver and gold collection. The thing that I like about this is that you can use any colors you want. So this is all neutrals, grays and browns. I've gone more like with the grays and silvers, but you could definitely bring in gold. That would go really pretty with the brown tones. So there's a look at the pattern papers, but you could also use whatever pattern papers you like. I was really tempted to dig into these stickers, but I want to save them for some scrapbook layouts. So I think they're going to get saved for now, maybe for a card or some scrapbook pages, but the foil on this sticker sheet is absolutely beautiful. So I have another version of this tag as well, but I'm going to show you first the pieces that you'll need to build it. So I am using the Buildable tag thin cut. I like this one because it has options between like the rounded top, the squared off top. There's some window options. See this one in here that has this die with the stitching? I actually cut that out of white for the back side of my tag so that I have somewhere to write, since it is pattern paper on this tag. And there's also the little hole reinforcers, which is really nice. I cut it out of this same pattern paper because I wanted the white to match exactly. I'm also using some heavyweight vellum. This is really nice heavyweight vellum, and we're going to be doing some embossing on this. Now, this is some stuff that I got off of Amazon. I will link it down below. I saw it from Tiffany Solorio, and I thought I would try it because she recommended this one. So I'm really happy with the thickness of this vellum. And then I have some of these little sprigs, whatever kind of like greenery you have. This one is from the Evergreen Cardmaking workshop. And it's one of these little sprigs here. There's also a double layer pine cone in that one. And then the Mary die cut is from this Merry and Bright thin cut. This is cut out of silver glitter paper. And for my color, I decided to go with Harbour. So I have Harbour cardstock from Close to My Heart, and then I have the Harbour glitter paper. Now, the reason I have both is because I want to give this a little bit of a dimension. You could stack it up even more if you want to, but I love how this looks either with the matte version over top, like just the cardstock, and then the glitter paper underneath, or vice versa. And it's because they're the same color, it's kind of like tone on tone, but it adds a little something special. Now, because my background papers are so neutral, you could use whatever color you want. I also have a plain circle here, and I believe this one is, it's 1.5 inches. This is from the Close to My Heart Circles thin cuts, but any circle you could cut on your Cricut, or if you have a circle punch, fits perfectly 1.5 inches behind this little ornament. And then in this set as well, maybe my favorite die out of this set besides that ornament is this bow. It cuts such a beautiful bow. I cut that out of charcoal cardstock. Now, if you were going to mass produce this, maybe you wanted to make all your tags with this, what I would do is have a die cutting session. When you're watching TV, just sit down and cut everything out all at once. I grabbed this Close to My Heart Sunbeam embossing folder. Hopefully you can see, if I hold it up here, you can see that pattern. So what I love about using vellum is I could use a super busy paper. Now this paper isn't that busy. The back side of this one is quite busy, But if you have some like really busy Christmas paper that you would like to use for your tags, you could definitely use the vellum to help like mute that. Another option would be if you don't have any pattern paper that matches maybe your gift wrap, what you could do is just do this on the vellum tag and then let your paper show through from behind. So that is an option as well. And what I would do is just do a little circle on the back side where the ornament's going to be. Just cut out a plain circle, probably out of white, and make sure they're in the same spot. And then that would be where you would put your two from. So I'm going to use this nice thick vellum and I'm going to emboss it. Now I liked the Sunbeam pattern because of the circle on here. You could use any embossing folder you like. I'm going to kind of aim to put that circle right where, or approximately where I want my ornament to be. Something like that. I want it just slightly higher than center. Okay, I'm going to go run this through my die cutting machine and I'll be right back. Now, isn't that so pretty? Look how it just turns all those little dots white. In the 31 Days of Christmas cards with the Creative Design team that just came to an end at the end of October, Julie also made some gorgeous Christmas cards using a thick vellum like this and embossing it, and it was just gorgeous. So if you haven't dug out your vellum in a while, I highly recommend it. It's super fun to play with, and I love doing it on this thicker vellum. Even the back side looks really pretty. So now I am not going to adhere this in any way. Usually adhering vellum to things, you want to hide your adhesive. But I thought I would just leave it free hanging in case you want your paper to come out to the side. And I'm kind of tempted to use this back side. I totally could. I really like where the bell and the pine cone. I was going to use the other side, but I think I want to use this side. It doesn't really matter because the edges are kind of going to be hidden anyways. So I think I'm going to do that. You could see on this one, I actually ripped off the bottom of the tag and I ripped the bottom of the vellum, because I wanted more of that pattern paper to show. So that's a good option as well. So I want to take, now my little hole thing. I'm just going to recut my little hole reinforcer because I want it to match the paper that it's on top of. All right, there we go. We got our little reinforcer now that is going to match. So I'm going to stick this actually on top of the vellum. And it wouldn't be a huge deal. I mean, you could even cut this out of glitter paper if you wanted to. It doesn't have to match the paper, but that's kind of what I was going with. So that's what we're going to do for this one. Now ribbon, it's funny, I hardly use ribbon anymore. I've purged a lot of my ribbon. I tend to just keep like neutrals. This is some that I got from Michael's from like the Christmas section. Pretty much making Christmas tags one of the few times a year I actually use ribbon. So it doesn't really make sense to keep like a huge stash. Got rid of most of mine and kept just like one little basket worth. And what I'm going to do is just put these together to keep my tags together. I'm not actually going to adhere them at all. I'm just going to layer them up. So I doubled that over. I fed that through the front, so now I have my loop at the back and my ends at the front. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then I'm going to tuck the ends through that loop. Try not to spin my ribbon. There we go. Now, if you want to make sure that this sits flat, you could put like glue dots under the back here if you wanted to, or a little bit of glue. Just going to turn that, make sure that's sitting flat. But I think that's good enough because this is what's going to get tied onto my packages. Now, you could, if you wanted more of your pattern to show, you know that you're going to have the ornament in the middle. So you could put a little bit of adhesive and just kind of offset your tags and have it kind of like that so that you see more of the pattern, or you can let it just hang like that. When the vellum is farther away from the pattern, it obscures it more. When it's closer, you see it better. Well, we are going to weigh this down with our ornament pieces here. But first, let's put on this little white piece for the back so we have a place to write our message. I'm just using my ATG gun for that. It's my go-to adhesive. Just pop that on the back. It's nice it's double-sided pattern paper because you got that pretty look, but if you have some other papers that are just patterned on one side, it would still work because then you have an easy place to put your little message or your to from. Now I'm going to stack these two ornaments. You can see the assembly would be quite easy on these. If you went ahead and did like a whole bunch of die cutting ahead of time and then just sit down and assemble them all at once, it could be a pretty easy, quick thing to throw together and a great way to use up some of your pattern papers. Because I don't know about you guys, but I have an excess of Christmas pattern paper. It's just so hard to say no to. There's so many gorgeous designs. Okay, now I'm going to just glue around the outside and a little bit through the middle here. I'm going to put that circle on the back side. So I like to alternate. If I did the outline of the ornament in glitter, then I want to do the background solid. But you could do both if you want to. You could even do like 2 shades of glitter, right? You could back this with like silver glitter paper or whatever color kind of goes with your theme. And this Silver Bells collection is nice and neutral, so it can work with so many different things. Okay, now let's see. We got our embossed tag on here. We've got our cute little ornament. Now I think I want to pop this up with foam tape. And then I have my little sprigs. Now I have one in like a white pearl paper. This is a paper that Close to My Heart used to carry. They don't have anymore. I found something similar on scrapbook.com. At least I think it's pretty similar. So I will link that for you guys. And then I have the silver glitter paper here. So these are going to go behind this like that. And then this one will be popped up. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and stick these down while I'm here. I see on this one I have 2 going this way, so maybe I'll do that again. I'm just using my Barely Art glue. It works so good for all this detail work, so I'm just going to pop that down there. You don't need to glue the whole thing, as long as the base is glued down. Now where it comes a little tricky is overlapping that glitter paper, so I think for that I might use a glue dot. Now, if you guys are interested in getting some more Christmas card ideas, in the 31 Days of Christmas Cards with the Creative Design team, we did, there was well over 100 cards. I have not sat down and counted them yet, but definitely over 100 cards, a new video every day in October. And if you missed out, don't worry, the replay is now available. So that means you can go back now and just binge watch the whole series. I will make sure to link that down below for you. Okay, hopefully that should be good. I'm just gonna put my needle back in my glue there, and then I have foam tape on the back side here. I like the little bit difference in dimension. And then we'll just stick that down. Super easy. And then I'm gonna grab my little bow here. This bow tie cut is so pretty, and cut out of glitter paper, also very beautiful. I'll show you one of my samples where it's cut out of glitter paper. All right, now all we need to add is a sentiment. So I did cut the Mary out of silver, and I think that works perfectly. So you could stack this as well. If you wanted to add a little bit more dimension on here, you could stack this up. If you would prefer to stamp your sentiment, you have a couple options. You could stamp on a strip of paper and then stick it onto the bottom of the vellum, or you can only partially emboss the vellum. Now I will show you what that looks like in a second. All right, we'll let that sit there and dry for a second, and I will show you another tag that I made. Okay, here's one that I did with the bells, and you can see that cute little bow is cut out of the Harbour glitter paper. I used silver for the bells and then charcoal cardstock for behind here. If you wanted something that's a little bit more contrast, you could always back this with like white or like the pearl white. And then I did all the sprigs in pearl white. I used that same pattern paper, but you can see here how the embossing stops. Now, it's very easy to do this. All you have to do is put your tag inside your folder. And then when you go to put on your top plate, just don't put it down all the way. I'll grab another tag and I'll show you what that looks like. I'll show you on a piece of Harbour cardstock. That might be a little bit easier for you to see. So you would do just like we did before, where you line it up in here, get it exactly where you want it, and then put it on your regular sandwich. But your top plate needs to stop high enough so that there's room to add your stamping. So you're going to end up with a smooth spot. So I would stop right about there. If you have a big shot like I do, these plates are beveled. So you're going to get kind of like a gradual, the stop to your embossing is going to be a little bit higher than you think. You can't go right with the edge of the plate. The actual stop is going to be just a little bit higher. So keep that in mind. I think about there is good. You can see my paper comes down to here. I'm going to run this through and then I'll show you what that looks like. All right, so here, yeah, you can see that a little bit better on the darker color. So you can see here how it like kind of fades off. That's because of the beveling on the big shot plate. If you have a plate that just like ends as a straight edge, you'll get like a complete cut off right there, but mine's a little bit gradual. But that gives me enough room to stamp. I'd probably do some embossing so it kind of stands out on there, or maybe stamp it with pigment ink. But that's a great way to use your embossing folders and still add stamping if you want to. I just thought since we were doing so much die cutting, it's really easy to go ahead and use a die cut sentiment and just pop it on there. Now on here you could see I did one bell flat and one bell popped up and kind of at an angle. So it sort of looks, you know, like they're ringing and kind of banging into each other a little bit. I liked the look of that. Now I promised I was going to show you a card idea, and that's what I'm going to show you next. So here is the card that was inspired by this tag design. I figured since I had everything out anyways, I might as well make a card. I mean, I could have made up a couple while I was at it, but I figured, hey, go ahead, kind of repurpose all the same supplies and make a card. So I have charcoal cardstock here. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have that beautiful gray pattern paper. And this one is, let's see, 3 7/8 by about 3. And then I wanted to bring in the vellum to keep that element, but I didn't want to overlap it. So I just took a little strip, like a 1-inch strip, and ripped the edge and then stuck it behind the pattern paper, and then used that same silver ribbon, and I just tucked the ends behind this piece. So the ribbon doesn't actually go right behind the gray piece, it just wraps behind this piece. And this one I repeated that same, the little ornament hanger with the silver glitter paper. That is something that I forgot on the little tag I showed you. This one I did it, and this one I did it. There is a little die in this set that will cut out the ornament top, so you can put that over top of that if you want to. It does cut out with the pattern on it, but I like the way that silver pops. I actually might try and just lift this up. This is only on with one glue dot, so I can maybe lift it up and stick that little silver glitter paper ornament hanger under there. And then the sentiment from this one is from the Evergreen card making workshop. So that's the one where I got that sprig die. It has this beautiful Mary, and then there's lots of like little sayings that you could put together with the larger wishes, Mary, and the Noel. I just love the script look of that one, and I white heat embossed it onto the charcoal. Now I was thinking about maybe adding some little sparkles around it, maybe like some bitty sparkles and some regular size sparkles. I think that would look really pretty. Well, I hope this gave you some great ideas for your own tags and maybe Christmas cards. Make sure you go on over to Janice's video and see what she came up with using this set. I'm sure it's going to be fabulous. Her video is linked here and also down in the description box. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.